Hey everybody, what's going on? We had some exciting stuff going on today on Friday in Splinterlands. This is going to be kind of a quick recap of what happened. We had Ali Straza do a nice stream. There was over 800 people watching it sometimes, and that was really cool. And then she rated Splinterlands TV, and unlike normal, when she rated Splinterland TV, we stayed around 200, 100, and even like hours later, there was like 90 people. Those are really big numbers for the channel. And she has said that while the partnership has officially come to an end, that the community has been nice enough to her. They're interested enough in the game that she is going to continue to make some content. I don't know if it'll be as frequent, but she did let out that she'll be doing a tournament. And I'm sure when she does the tournament within the Splinterland system, she is going to share that with her community, because that would be a way that she's giving money to her community, and it might get them to come and play. Also, I hope that if the ghost card tournaments are coming soon, that at that point the team reaches back out to her, because then she can invite her community to come and play in our tournament system without needing to buy any cards and still play at high levels and have fun. I really think that tournament system is the first time I might look into sponsoring some tournaments with some interesting prizes, because it's more exciting if you know that you can let everybody play with the same amount of cards, because I don't have to worry about just the best players obviously coming in and winning that big prize. I want to give, a chance for all of you. So let's go ahead now and talk about the other major thing. We got the stats for Conqueror Jace. Now this looks like Jackik maybe, but this is Jace. He is one of the best Splinterlands players out there. He's very active in the community, and obviously he bought enough packs to get this card named after him. It's actually a pretty cool artwork, as we have seen, but let's go take a look at the actual stats. So we had the post come out here today, and this is something I didn't ever think I would see. We're getting a summoner with Scattershot, piercing, and +2 speed. Now this is a very interesting card. I know some of us were kind of speculating that this might be a plus to the magic attack for the fire team. Maybe that is just too strong, and so it was something that they couldn't do. Yet, what is one of the big problems that the fire team has run into, and the Jotun deck in particular? It would be the taunt rule set, because certain cards can stop him from being able to use a lot of the special tools on the fire team that attack different positions, force you to attack monsters with return fire, or force you to attack monsters with portals so that your giant archers don't do enough damage. Also, armor is obviously a problem for a team that has quite a few good archer cards. So now we get a summoner that can answer that problem before both of those. Scattershot on every single monster. I think a lot of people will think that this is not good at first. That's because right now when you play Scattershot, you only get one Scattershot monster, or maybe two Scattershot monsters. You don't get 4 in the back row attacking all over the place. And we know that now, and I'm sorry I couldn't get this out earlier, I was working this morning, because there's already been a bit of a large price spike in the cards that are going to work very well with this card. Now obviously you could say that piercing doesn't look like it would be very usable for magic, but I do think that this will help the magic team, and that the cards that they have, just because magic armor is becoming something that's a little more prevalent in the game, and there's nothing worse than one of your bigger magic attackers attacking into one void armor and seeing that magic damage not do what it normally used to do. The other thing we can see here is he has +2 to speed. That means this summoner will be a great counter to the problems that a lot of players have with Grum in the higher levels. Even when you speed him up with some of the members in your team to 2 speed or 3 speed, he's not hitting. But now you're looking at a team that has a lot of different ways to speed themselves up, and you could be seeing Grum enter the battlefield with 5 speed, 6 speed. That would mean that he should not probably miss very often, and now you're adding on piercing to that attack of his, so he's not going to be deterred by a tiny bit of armor. Also, it's just one of those things now that you can imagine that he's gonna not have the same focus fire though to help him take down that front row character. So it's all a very interesting thing. I'll tell you the decks that I think this is going to help us beat. It's the white shield bearer decks that go ahead and make you force into the attack into the shield bearer. It's the Kraken decks that make you force the hit the Kraken, and it's the green decks that make you hit the slip spawn, and the blue decks that make you hit the 8-drop. I'm forgetting his name right now, but we'll take a look at him. Oh wait, that's almost every other color has some damn taunt that drives you crazy because it pulls your attacks to somewhere you don't want them. Well, now you can try to counter that kind of playstyle with Conqueror Jack. Jace. I did the wrong name. And, you know, obviously there's some cards that are going to play into this a little better. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of those cards. Like I said, sorry, some of them have already spiked in price, but maybe watch out. You could have a lot of people who are trying to flip these, and they might lower the price on them relatively soon. So any of the cards, the melee cards, probably get the least advantages from his abilities unless they are kind of slow, and then it speeds them up so that they can have a better chance to dodge on incoming attacks and give them a better chance to actually hit on their inbound. I know if you look at some of the wild cards, there's some very interesting things with the with all the serpents that have 5 and 6 speed, and making them now being 7 or 8 speed when you're playing them on the fire team, and you don't have to have the kitty to go ahead and do that. So that's something that's pretty impressive. Same thing with like a Tusk the Wide. That's an interesting card that'll get a boost. The striker is kind of slow, so now you can imagine he'll be doing big sneak attacks, but they'll be piercing. I have heard that Scattershot will overrule sneak and snipe and stuff, and so this would kind of mean you could turn him into a weird version of a monster who attacks from the back row but can attack all over the place. If I'm wrong on that, somebody correct me in the comments, and he would still just be sneaking with piercing, which is still not too bad of a thing, especially because he'll be going even faster. You can go ahead though and take a little bit of a further look down here, and there's some cards that obviously get a big boost from this. Oh, let me click regular foil so we don't have to deal with the golds. I'm kind of zoomed in here. I'll try to make sure nobody gets behind my head that I want to look at. And of course, one of the cards I wanted to was a little bit. But let's look at the Fire Elemental. The Fire Elemental has got a nice pump because at level 1, this card has Blast. Now, instead of him attacking the front row character, this fast card at already 4 speed will now do a 6 speed attack, and it will go ahead and hit any character on the board. That means that it has a chance to go ahead and deal damage to 3 monsters very early on in the turn. So that is very cool. You also can look at a card like the General, who used to be a sniper. Well, now he'll have a scatter shot, and that is something that he can combine. But the other one that a lot of people are looking at are, let's see, there was one more that had Blast, I thought. Is he a rewards card? Maybe he's a rewards card. We know that it's kind of interesting. The Bloodmaker, they just released this new card, though, and it already has Scattershot, so to see them get another one. Okay, the Lava Launcher, because the Lava Launcher will pick up Piercing. If you have a lower level Spearman, you can give him Piercing at the lower levels, but that's kind of a wild play, not a modern play, so we won't talk too much about that. Pyromancer. That's right. Pyromancer is a rewards card. This is another level 1 archer with Blast. Also, you will notice that this card is actually kind of slow, so now it'll get speed up. You can combo these two right here. The fire... Oops, my head's in the way. Of course, these cards end up where my head is. Let me just move myself for a second. Okay. So I'm going to be over on this side for just a moment. And now that you can see that these cards both have Blast, they both have Archery of 2 attack, and there'll be a nice combo to play with this in the lower levels. Now, when you get to the higher levels, they'll still be very good combos, but there are some other cards that should be very cool. It'll also be interesting. I know Countess Sinesh got a pump, but mostly because of the speed play. She's a card that at upper levels gives them a speed boost. You'll also see that I think Grum is going to be considered more usable now because he's so slow, but now you have that piercing to help him get those bloodlust kills off. And so you should see maybe his price start to rise in the near future. And then some of the other cards that'll probably get a boost that people aren't thinking about. So Ifrit Rising, he has this delayed really big attack, and he's a relatively cheap card. I'll go ahead and pop my face back over to the other side. And then we'll finish talking about Ifrit, because you're looking at this right now. When he does get to attack, it's a 6 magic attack, but he's only like medium speed on a team that has some very fast characters, so he might not get to attack while the front row monster needs to really take 6. But if you get a magic attack that randomly targets somebody on the board for 6 damage, that means when he attacks, there's almost a guarantee that he's going to sniper somebody. And at upper levels, he hits even harder. So picture him all of a sudden hitting somebody in the back row for this giant magic damage. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the Jin Inferni, because he does a lot of magic damage and he has giant killer. But if there's not, but sometimes, you know, he won't live long enough to hit the Cornelius or some of the bigger cards that are in the back row. Well, now with Scattershot, he has an opportunity to possibly hit them. And when he hits them, because you're going to be doing possible double damage, all of a sudden he's going to drop bombs on some of those characters that are in the back row. You combo in these mages that might be landing really big blows on really big monsters with these 2 splash damage monsters, and you're going to have some very interesting lineups. On top of that, you've got, you know, just like the Scalvo. He's a pretty good card, but now he can have Scattershot, so he can be paired up with some of the other cards like that. The Jin appearance, the Apprentice, I would say this one maybe just because it's good magic damage and it can kind of similarly hit lower end monsters in the back, so he can be used in like smaller ones. Oh, I got a little gift. Let's see what it is. Oh, look at that. We got a gold Stitch Leech. This is because I joined Alex Dreza's Discord server, and they were doing a giveaway. And check it out. I won a gold card, and that just happened right in the middle of my video. And that was pretty cool. So shout out to them. I'll put a link to that Discord in my video to let them know that, you know, they are looking for people who play Splinterlands to join, to be there, to talk to people in their community about it. And because as they try to embrace more of the Web3 gaming stuff, a lot of her traditional fans don't really support Web3 gaming. They're still in the Web2 world. They still don't understand NFTs. They still have a bad taste in their mouth from what they've been told in the mainstream media, and having real players who are playing the game in there could be very helpful for her to actually help build her community. All right, guys, I didn't want to make this video too long, so we're going to end it there. Thanks to everybody who's been hanging out with me. My channel, I'm trying to get back to doing a lot more videos. I finally passed 4.3 thousand subs, so upward and onward to that 4,500, and we'll see what happens if we can continue to grow. I hope the crypto market turns around and we can start to grow the community again. Thank you and goodbye.